morning, everyone. Happy Thursday and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the Badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, coming to you from a little cloudy southern Connecticut, where it is nice and fall and crisp weather today, but it will be raining and all good, no worries. We've had enough rain and we've had some beautiful green foliage as a result of it, nice luscious stuff, and the leaves are changing. And it's looking really beautiful. So good morning, and good morning to Milagros and Tiffany. We've missed you, Tiff. We haven't seen you in a bit. So good morning.
Good morning, buenos días, mi gente. Aquí it is un día nublado. It is misty, it's rainy, it's gray. I don't know if that's the weather for the day. Look at I'm a poet and don't even know it. But yes, it's one of those beautiful, my favorite type of days. It's that gray day. It's not sunshine and it's not like severely cold. It's perfect. It's a perfect gray sky, misty kind of day.
I wanna point something out if she'll let me. Oh, sorry, Tiffany. I spelt the last name wrong. Can you jump on for a second? Can you say hi? So my little one we missed picture day because we were away in California. So my little one is getting dressed for picture day, but just to show you like what type of little kid she is, or little lady, she's wearing, inspired by the fact that I'm inspired by Gladiator Guru with always wearing the jewelry, because I really wasn't a jewelry person prior to. But so having been inspired by Gladiator Guru, and then now she's being inspired by both of us. Her little necklace is actually a scorpion. It's like a scorpion in resin.
Oh,
Because my daughter loves that stuff. And so she is just being her own person and stepping up and taking that picture. So I'm looking at her as she's getting ready and going, oh my God, how cute is that she's putting her little necklace on, and it's not like a girly necklace. She's putting a badass scorpion necklace on. And her spikes. Look, and then her gold spikes.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Be you, girl.
Oh my goodness. Good morning, Iritza. Oh, she's back in Connecticut. Well, welcome home. I hope you had a wonderful time.
Gloomy Connecticut. She said, watch it, girl. You know, I love my home state. Yes. Wouldn't it be great to be able to say, I'm out, get your backpack and just go, and don't even have a return date until you feel like coming back?
Yep.
Like there's this meme, I don't know if it's on a reel or if on TikTok, but it'll show somebody doing just whatever, lounging or whatever. And it says, what is your dream job? And the voiceover says, dream job, darling, I told you I wasn't born to do labor. And it's like wow, like that's it. So
I don't mind working, but I'm at a point where I want to have fun with my work. I want to enjoy myself. Granted, you can make your work fun, but I do know people who are in jobs that make them absolutely miserable, because they're very high stress, and even even going in with a good attitude sometimes isn't always possible. So it is. It's about, we're at an age where, you know what? It's time. If we haven't done it already, it's time. It's time to break free from those, the things that have bound us all these years. It's time to step out of the box. It's time to live in the way that we want to live. And if living outside the box is not your thing, that's okay. If that really is not your, like, I had a friend of mine that I used to work with, very mellow lady, and she never went anywhere. She didn't go on vacations. She had one of those really severe resting bitch faces. Like, she always looked like she was miserable. And when you got to speaking with her, though, you would think she was this mean person, but she actually was a really kind-hearted person. And what her joy was gardening. Like, absolutely positively, like, she knew all her flowers. She was always planting flowers, giving flowers away. So that was her joy. So she was happy to go to her job, do her job, and then go home and then be in and then spend the weekend in her garden, and just that was her joy. So what you want is specific to you. The big thing is just don't hold yourself back. Don't say, "Oh, I can't because," or "This is in the way." We had this conversation in September. That's what September was, completely that conversation.
Well, it's because first you got to ask yourself, who am I? Am I happy living the life that I believe is me? Am I happy doing it? And then how do I measure success? Everybody measures success so differently. People think successful means you have the house, the car, the name brand clothes, that you have all of of material things to then meet up with the right people who are deemed to be more successful or that have more connections, that if you blend in with them, you'll expand. So what is success to you? Is it sitting underneath a tree on a nice breezy warm day, reading a book, getting ideas, writing it in, meeting up with friends, laughing, loving life, having just enough to pay and to enjoy your life, but doing all the stuff that matter? The stuff that matters usually, where am I happy at? Am I frozen?
No, you're good. You're
Okay.
not frozen, and you keep talking.
And so I think we can all live the life we want if we stop listening to how people are pointing and telling us that we need to live this, we need to acquire this in order to be here. And I think that the longer that we absorb other people's ideas and opinions of how we should live our life, we're never going to live the life we were born to live. Remember, this is everything is temporary. We are temporary. We are a spirit living in a human body, but we too shall pass through this. So, what are you going to do with the time you have? Because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. We're listening to so many horror stories of people that are you spoke to today or that you heard about today that are gone tomorrow. So, what makes you happy? And do what makes you happy, even if that means letting it all go or losing it all. If you lost everything, God bless those people in the hurricanes that lost everything and have to start fresh. Did they die? No. They're going to pick up. They're going to probably do better because now they know this is not going to happen to me again. Where do I want to take my life? You have that option to choose. If your life is exactly where you want it to be, then God bless you. And may no one undo what has been done for your life. But if you are still questioning, where do I need to be? If you're miserable to leave Puerto Rico to come to Connecticut, why? Where are you spiritually? Where are you mentally? Where do you feel you need to be? Ask yourself those questions. Because a vacation, when we go on vacation, a vacation is only going to last, but the longest 10 days. Be happy.
Longer.
Be happy with the life that you are living. If not, then only you can make the changes. Go in the direction that your spirit guides you. And that's all. That's all it is.
Yes. And with that, the conversation today, we are still talking about, we're honoring Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We had Karen Sammer on for 2 episodes, which was very enlightening. And we love Karen. She's such a joy to have around. Today, we're going to continue that conversation, but it's going to be more of just like the conversation that we started with, an empowerment type of conversation. It's not just about breast cancer awareness. It's about being aware of who you are and what you want to do with your life. And if that's a diagnosis, then what's the next step? If you're worried that could happen, what's your next step? If you're a survivor, what's your next step? And so we're going to be talking about that. But before we do, let's go ahead and set our intention for today. Please also make sure that you like, share, follow, subscribe. We still would love YouTube subscribers. We always forget about YouTube. But please make sure that you share the room so we can get more and more people on here. And next week's going to start the last element or the last couple of weeks of October. We're going to be focusing on Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we will have our guest, Lillian Maldonado, on Tuesday But we also have Lillian. Lillian's been coming on and she's been sharing Usa tu Corona, the event that's coming up. So she's going to be on in a moment to share that once again. And then she will be a full-fledged guest on Tuesday with us talking about domestic violence. So let's set the intention and do our mantra. Here we go. As always, with Viva Cafe con Leche, let's set our intention to be intentional and
grateful.
Set your intention for whatever that may be today. Set it as many times as you need to, and always go with
gratitude.
That's it, baby. All right, here we go.
Automated person, press 1. Thank you. 1 moment. Press 2.
I thought about that like the last couple of times. It's like we have it timed down. You know what? You need to one day you just need to throw me off and say something entirely different when I pause like that. So all right. Let's do our mantra. Here we go. Say it loud, say it proud. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I am beyond authentic.
And I keep it real.
Woo! All right. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Oh my goodness. We're setting up for a fabulous weekend. Hopefully you have some wonderful plans. And if you don't have plans, start making plans. Do something. Get out there, enjoy, do something a little different. So, all right, here we go. Let's bring the fabulous Lillian up and we will post everything up there, Lillian, and you go ahead and tell.
Great morning. South Carolina is gray and overcast and drizzling.
And the
temperature is about 68 degrees. So I'm here to talk about the gala. The gala is taking place October 22nd, 2022. Let me tell you a little bit about our platform. So Ajusta tu Corona works with women of adversity, focusing on domestic violence. For those of you that are ready to get your life back and become the badasses that you are, we work with you. We make you aware of where you are, self-love, cultivating, healing, forgiving. It's a journey. So that's what we do. The gala this year is raising funds for Help Now of Osceola. And Margarita, I want to touch on something you say. We speak to people today and they're gone tomorrow. Do you know how many women that happens to? There are also men of domestic violence, but we are focusing on the women because their numbers are greater. 1 in 4 women is a victim of domestic violence, and so many of them do not make it. When I'm on the show next week, I'm going to show you a video of people that I personally know that have not made it out, unfortunately. The gala is going to be absolutely beautiful. We need your assistance. This is the last call for the event to sell tickets because we have to turn our number into the caterers. It's going to be amazing. We have some amazing performers. It is absolutely an inspirational, motivational event. You leave there, your heart is filled spiritually, joyfully. It's just such a loving, caring event. It is a safe place. You come, you need a hug, you got it. Come to the event. If you can't make it to the event, we're asking that you donate a ticket for a woman of domestic violence. So please go to givebutter.com ATC. If the cost of the ticket is out of your reach, we're asking you to dig deep into your pockets and donate at least $20. $20 can clothe a child in a shelter for a week. It can help them get their backpack, a new outfit to get to school the next day when they are running for their lives. We need your assistance. Ajusta Tu Corona Gala, October 22nd, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You are going to be served brunch. You are going to see performers. You are going to see an absolutely amazing panel. And you know what? All of these people were prior victims that have become extremely successful. It's all in your desire when you're ready to move on, to be tired of a punching bag, mentally abused, financially abused, and you're ready to get your life back. Please come to this gala. See what is on the other side of this abuse. There is nothing but love going up from there. And you will be surrounded by people that empathize with you because we were former victims of domestic violence. Thank you.
I have a question. So, thank you. As someone who's been with Lillian since the very beginning of Ajusta Tu Corona Galas, I have to say that being there, sorry, that always gets me emotional because people don't realize how, the $20, even myself, that you would go and get a breakfast or a lunch that actually can save and clothe a child, that can get a woman or her hygiene menstrual needs for her time being in a safe house or a shelter. I mean, to us, $20 is like, oh, let me go have lunch or do whatever, because it is your prerogative, whatever it is you do with your money. But what I'm saying is sometimes when you balance it with the cost of someone's life, someone's safety, you're like, wow, who would have thought my lunch, my amount of lunch can do that? Well, it can. So that always brings me, it makes me emotional for someone who really didn't deal with emotions. But Lil, so let's say the Badass Buddha put up the givebutter.com /ATC 2022 to make a donation. She put if nobody can make it, if they can purchase the amount of a ticket for a victim or a survivor of domestic violence can attend to acquire tools so that they can utilize to birth forth a successful life of safety, of working, of doing everything they thought they would never do or were worthy enough to do. So if you can't make it to the event, you can donate the 125 so that someone else can go in your stead. And if you cannot do that, you can donate. Now, if I were to go donate on givebutter.com, is there a specific space I need to go down if I want to donate $20, $30, $40?
So when you click on the link, it takes you directly to donations and tickets. So you click on it, and then there'll be sponsorship packages and ticket sales on the right. But on the bottom, this lettering will come up that says, no, thank you. I want to do my own thing. And you click on that and it'll take you to where you can enter your own amount.
And Lillian, you said you have a time frame for ticket sales. So what's the deadline for ticket sales?
So the deadline for ticket sales is Monday.
Okay. And and that's for ticket sales. However, could individuals donate past?
They can donate till the day of the event.
Good. Perfect. Okay.
Thank you, Leslie.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Do you know Leslie?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay, that was great. Love her here. Yeah, and that's very important to announce. Like we have deadlines, like everything when you're working on something, mi gente. There's always a deadline. Like me, I cannot hit snooze past 7:15 in the morning when I have Viva. There's always a deadline, right? So because of scheduling, we would love to meet our deadline by Monday, because we are feeding the people in attendance. The ticket's 125 Lil. What did you say they get in return for almost the same amount?
They get a gift bag worth $100, and
food, entertainment.
They get the food and they get amazing entertainment. So this year we have a fabulous poet who has been writing. She reminds me of Margarita when I first met her. So she's been writing since she was probably 13 years old, 11 years old, and she's never sent anything to print, but her poems are absolutely amazing. And I think it's time that she sent her stuff to print. But we have um, this amazing urban performer who's going to do like, she's dedicating her time. She has a huge platform. She's all over Central America, Latin America. She sings reggaeton, but she sings other kinds of music as well. She's very well known. And I'm so excited to have her that she is donating her time. And our gift bags are all in-kind events by our board members, and they've donated the gifts that are going into these gift bags, and everybody is just putting their little grain of sand into this to make it an amazing event for all of these women. So I am super excited. And it's not only for women, it's open to men this year as well, because we want you guys to learn, you know, what the women go through. We want you to hear the stories. We want you to say, oh, all this women empowerment is ruining. No, you need to be there, see it, understand it, and then maybe you can be the seed of hope and help to other women and talking to these men about their behaviors.
Absolutely.
So I'm so super excited. Please join us. You don't know what it is until you are there. So, we have most of the people that come to our event are repetitive attendees because they just love the event. This year, the event is being held in Orlando. So I don't know the Orlando area. So it's been a little bit more difficult and frustrating trying to raise funds for this event because, like I said, we're not known there. We would like people to network, come, be a vendor, be a sponsor, come to the event, attend and see what it's all about. And then when we do it again in this area, you'll understand the importance of it.
Mm-hmm. I think anything that has to do with empowerment, with helping, we were born to be of service to humanity. That is why the Badass Buddha gets up. That's why we rearrange our life schedule since we started Viva Cafe con Leche, so that nothing interrupts our Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 o'clock, whether we're on vacation. I did it when I was in Spain. She did it when she was in Costa Rica. I got up at 5 a.m. in California. She recently was up at 5 a.m. in California doing this show. And I think when you believe in it, Ajusta Tu Corona has been around since 2018. And every year we do this, and every year we get the people and they come and they love it. And this is our first year out of our hometown of Connecticut, our home state. But you know what? If you don't step outside the box, you're never going to know what type of fertilized soil we're going to walk into. Because
Absolutely.
everywhere we walk, if we walk in faith, if we walk in goodness of our hearts and gratitude, then it's always good soil. So let's plant trees together. Let us plant stuff that is going to fulfill legacy going forward. And that's what we do. We participate in an event that is for humanity. So I hope to see many of you there. If you cannot go, I'm so sorry, but you can reach into your pockets and at least make 20, 30, 40, $50 donations to this great event, Ajusta Tu Corona, for October 22, 2022. And the most important activities and entertainment you're going to see is when Lillian and I go up to the podium and start speaking. And you don't really want to miss that. So we'll see you there. Lillian, thank you. We'll see you Tuesday. We can speak more about it. We can speak about, of course, domestic violence. And we're just grateful. We're grateful that we all can have platforms like this to share with one another. That's how we become great. That's how we become successful. When there's no competition, when it's only helping hands, lifting each other, because we're all different, yet it's all done in love, which is all the same. So thank you, my love. And
Thank you.
talk later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Lillian, remember the retreat when we came out of meditation, you were manifesting, you are that's beautiful.
That is. Isn't that phenomenal?
Yeah.
All right. So, wonderful, wonderful. So, look, seriously, if you can't attend, but you do have deep pockets, donate a ticket. Donate a ticket to someone that they can bring that can hear this, that would never have been able to go to something like this. Sometimes the only way that we know that we can get through something is to know that, number one, we're not alone, and number two is that people have done it before. And the interesting thing is that here we have today, Milagros always comes on the show, which is great. She's always here.
Always.
We have to have her on as a guest before the end of the year again. Lillian was just on, and then there's Margarita and me, and we, all four of us, were in the book Her Badass Story too. And we share our stories, and Lillian actually talks about her domestic violence story. And the thing is that the reason these books are here, these stories, and not just this book, but stories, so that people know that they're not alone, that they know that they're that there's light at the end of the tunnel, so that they can have faith when they feel like they're losing it. And that's the whole point. And that's why these events are really, really important. And we'll hear more about Lillian's story on Tuesday, about how she, what she experienced, and what that meant to her, and how it transformed her. And then from there, we will continue our conversation on domestic violence. So, but yeah, let's talk. But today we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about breast cancer awareness, and we're going to talk about empowerment. So what was the title that we gave it today? I think we said empowering you and your breasts, but really we meant empowering you and your tatas. What does that mean to you? How do we define ourselves? Do we define ourselves by our look? Do we define ourselves by do breasts make us feminine? We need to decide what is best for us? What is the right choice for us? Taking care of ourselves, being aware, making sure that we do what we need to do so that things don't happen. And when they do happen, go with a clear, grounded mindset to be able to make the choices that are best for us, not for everybody else, not for what other people suggest, but what we feel is best for us, and be able to walk proudly and say, this is the choice that I made, good or bad. This is the choice that I made, and this is what I'm sticking with. And knowing that you're not alone. And anyone that ever comes up to you and says, oh, see, that didn't work out for you because you made a bad, I told you to do it this way, you're going to be able to walk past them and say, I don't see you. I don't hear you. Remember, we talked in September about what are you not seeing and what are you not hearing? There is a good side to tuning out certain things. There's a good side to tuning out things that's right in front of you, because sometimes you just need to focus on what you're doing and not all that other fluff in the background. And with that, I'm going to take my child to the
over. I think, everything's yin yang. Everything is, for every negative, there's a positive. For every positive, there's a negative. I say for every problem, there is a solution. And there are people that would say for every solution, there's a problem. So you just got to pick a side, right? Which one are you comfortable with? Or zigzag through life, because sometimes we need to have that. But let me tell you something. When you listen to your voice, so when you hold the thoughts in your mind, when you constantly keeping them up here and they're running back and forth, and before you know it, they've turned into ghosts that are haunting you. So you don't know what to believe, so you do nothing. I always say, when those thoughts are there, when they first happen, when they're confusing, when they seem alien to you, and you're like, what the hell? Speak them out. Whether you're going to vent to somebody, where you're just going to be scrubbing your bathtub and you're talking to yourself. Because you know what? When you see me talking to myself, I am having a staff meeting. So with all my personalities, because I never deny it. I got 4. So say it out loud, because once you voice it out into the ear, it comes back and enters your ears. And then you're like, oh shit, it wasn't even as bad as I thought it was. I was self-torturing myself. But also when you expel it from your thoughts and you voice it out, they say the most powerful weapon you possess is your tongue. So when you're throwing all that's giving you confusion, causing havoc in your thought process, is making you lethargic because you're thinking it's this big when it's really just a peanut size. When you say it out loud and then you listen to it again, it never is as bad as you thought. So start listening to your thoughts, start voicing it out so it can lose its power, its hold it has up here. Let it out, let it come back in, and then you can sort it out. Because you know what? People, places, and things will have you believe that their way is the best way for you, which then all it does is strips you of your power. You have to believe that you are capable of conquering anything. Now, everything we should not, but anything that comes your way, you should try and make it work for you. When you're going through a crisis, sit with yourself. And I don't care what type of crisis. You could have lost your favorite earring. It's a crisis. It's traumatizing to you. We don't know what history goes behind that earring, who gave it to you, who owned it generations before you. We don't know that. So who are we to tell you, oh, get over it? Well, it's not that serious. What you do is you got to center yourself in whatever decision you're making. You are mind, body, and spirit. Center yourself with all three. And then you can backtrace, do whatever it is you can to find what you lost, to apologize for hurtful things that might have been said, to accept somebody's apology. I mean, whatever's going on in your world, it is your decision to make the best decision for you, mind, body, and soul. So when you're going through, we're talking about breast cancer. And today's thing is about making a decision that fits right with you. So what would fit right with you? The Badass Buddha, we always have conversations prior to our shows. Because there are times when we have different point of views. Like today was the title, it had breasts. And I said, I should have said save the tatas or something like that. Because I think that's cute. I think it's like, well, anybody who knows me knows why I would like that. And she said some people might be offended by that. And I get it, because you know what? My daughter gets offended by the title of one of my pieces that I have published in books, that I have published in other places. And it's called The Power of Pussy. And that is to shock people. That is to awaken the people who are so closed-minded that they let little things like that, like it exists. And every single woman you come across, no matter what name you put it, that's I'm comfortable with that. My daughter's not. But it is to awaken people's curiosity, or to shock them into realizing how the women are the most powerful beings in this universe. We are the breeders of life, or that awesome auntie. And without us, there's no growing the population. There's no birthing presidents and kings. Lord, it's none of that without us. So that's why I did that for Shocker. But if you are dealing with something like breast cancer, it is your decision from beginning, from when they tell you what you have, until the end. So you get to decide, do I want treatment? Do I don't want treatment? Do I want to try a totally holistic path? And I don't mean pills. When I say holistic, people say, but they can rip you off. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about learning what the fruits and vegetables you are to eat to combat those cells, because they exist. Because my God did not create an earth without creating every single herb, fruit, and vegetable that heals our bodies. So if you want to learn all that, learn it. Even if you don't have cancer, learn it. I have a whole book on plants and all that kind of stuff. I learned it when my husband was diagnosed with ALS and was given 2 to 5 years to live. And that's why he lasted 6 years with no cold, no coughs, no type of infections, because I read that book. So, and it's to cure any ailment that we have as a human. Anyway, if you decide to go through it, it's your choice. If you decide to get a mastectomy and not have it repaired with a boob job, that's your choice. If you get a double mastectomy and then you want breasts because you want that nipple, you want something that's gonna make you believe that you're still normal, that's your choice. Who is anybody to tell you not to do that? When she and I were talking, I said, because of my paternal family side, my grandmother had breast cancer, my aunt had breast cancer and a mastectomy, my other aunt had breast cancer, but she saved the breast. I said, if I were to ever get it, I would have them taken off, you know, and I would leave them as is. And I said, right now, at my age, I hate wearing bras. I hate them being restricted. I'd rather go out with no bra, wear stuff I don't need to wear a bra at. And so if that was the case, and I love my breasts, and anybody who's been on the show knows that I dress them up in pearls and do photo shoots because I love my breasts. But if that came to be, I would remove them. But then again, that's my choice. And today's show is about you making the choice that best suits your life, because it's only your life. People tag along when you invite them. But especially when it's such a detrimental decision, right, Buddha? You must make sure that you are at the center of your decision for your life. Don't let the people come and poke at your silk fabric, and then their hands are off, and then they start pulling threads out. And before you know it, when you look at your dress, it's a piece of shit because everybody had their hands in it. It is your life with your decisions. No matter if I agree that it was the best decision for you or a badass Buddha disagrees, the thing is that you made a decision for your life that you can live with until your last day. And that's all life is about. What
Yes.
are you going to do for you that's going to pave your road until your elder years? And you're going to look back and say, damn, I was a badass back then because I was given this detrimental diagnosis, and I said, that is not going to be my story. This
That's
is
right.
how I'm going to do it. And you know what? Be courageous. The courage lives inside of us. It's waiting for us to activate it. So start inquiring within. I don't care if it's about a boyfriend, if it's about do I wear blue mascara at 54? I don't know. Can I pull it off? Inquire within. Ask yourself, because you are going to be the one to know, what is it that I want to do with my life? How do I want to dress it up? How do I want to say I am fully present and in my pajamas and I don't give a shit because this is where I'm comfortable today? Because you don't know that I have insomnia and I didn't sleep a wink last night, and I showed up in the best way I can. And that should be your story. Not, oh my God, I can't go out like this. What if someone sees me? Who gives a flying fuck what anybody decides,
That's right.
opinionates, or has any kind of involvement in a decision you need to make for yourself? People are always going to have opinions. That's just since the beginning of time. What you need to do is live your life to the best of your ability. Choose what's right for you and your loved ones if you have little ones. If not, if it's just you, then choose what's right for you and keep it pushing. I cannot wait until I pack my backpack and I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be gone, and it is a decision I made because you know what? I've been a mother since 17. And now my kids are grown, and then my oldest grandchild is going to be 20. My youngest is going to be 2. They got their parents. Badass Buddha's making the biggest decision of her life right now today. Not that it's going to be the only biggest decision, but right now in her life, that is the biggest decision. And she said, I'm going to do this. And you know what? Going back to what your choice is going to be for your breasts. See, I love mine. Go ahead, badass.
Well, and that's the interesting thing when it comes especially to breast cancer. There's so many pieces. There's so many pieces, right? As opposed to any other cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So do women, do they get a lumpectomy? And sometimes it's not their choice. Sometimes it's the decision of the doctor. Again, you can always ask questions. Do I absolutely need my whole breast removed? Do I need a partial mastectomy? Do I need both breasts removed? Can I get a lumpectomy? Okay, you ask the questions. Then if you have to get a full mastectomy, complete breast removal, then you ask your options. If you like, for me, I absolutely love breasts. I not only my own, but I think breasts are just absolutely beautiful.
They are.
My friend, who happened to be about a little over 40 when she got diagnosed with breast cancer, we all went to school together since grade school. And it was very shocking to all of us. We were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And they told her, because hers was a specific type, they recommended bilateral full mastectomy. So she opted to have breast implants put in. And because of the way they were doing the surgery, they opted to do it all in one shot. Sometimes they don't do that. Sometimes they'll remove the breast and then they'll say, wait a few months, we're going to treat you, and then we'll reconstruct. But they did it all in one shot with her, right? And she had such a good attitude about it. And she said when her best friend texted her to see how, or when her best friend went to go see her, and then her friend texted all of us to see let us know how she was doing. She said, I'm the pain meds are kicking in and working, and I have some really nice perky breasts, and so she was really cool about it. I've had patients where they opted not to have the breast ever put back, one of which was quite large breasted. So she just had a prosthetic piece put into her bra. And so when she would be dressed, she would be even. And when she was home, she could care less, I've known people who've had the radical mastectomies that they do, where they even remove the nipple. And they haven't decided yet. It's been some time, but maybe even a couple of years, and they haven't decided yet if they want to reconstruct. The thing is, you have the right to change, your right to make the choice that's right for you. And you have the right to decide if you're going to shave your head, if you're getting chemo and losing hair. You have the right to, as that hair's coming in, to say, you know what, I'm going to make it blue. I'm going to put on these really crazy ass wigs. I'm going to do what's right for me because it's for me, regardless of what other people say, think, because this is your battle at that moment in time, especially when you're dealing with cancer. You don't need anybody's opinion that's going to be negative to you. You can sit there and go, you need to stay the hell out of my house if you're going to have a negative opinion. All I want to do is laugh. There is so much power in healing. There's so much healing power in laughter and positivity. So surround yourself with that. Get rid of the people around you that are just not kicking it up. If you say, I have to have treatment, but I really want to travel, then you know what? Go away on the weekends. If your treatment makes you sick in the beginning of the week, but by the weekend you feel good, then go take every weekend, go away. Say, screw it. I'm going away with or without somebody. But look at your life and say, you know what? I'm going to live it the way I want to live it. And this just sidelined me, but I'm going to live it the way I want it. I'm going to decide what I want that's best for me. If I want to eat this, I'm going to eat that. If I want to only do alternative treatments, because that's another big thing. I come from an alternative background. And so people have asked me, I've taught about breast cancer. I've taught about all types of cancers in my pathology classes. And we talk about the conventional treatments and we talk about the alternative. And students would always ask me, what would you do? Like, would you go 100% alternative? And I would say, I don't know. I wouldn't know until I'm presented with it. It depends on how I feel. If anything, I would do a combination. There would always be alternative there. It would always be a part. But would I go with conventional, and which ones and how much? I don't know. So for other people who say, oh, when they're alternative people, medical practitioners, and they'll go, oh yeah, you have to do this and you have to do that, and I wouldn't do that. I would never do that to somebody because I really truly don't know what I would do. So I always say you have to just decide what's right for you. You have to stand up for what you choose to do and not let anybody affect you or poison you if what you choose doesn't seem to be working. And that especially happens with alternatives. See, people could go
What
to
alternative? See, when I was mentioning earlier, I meant go totally holistic. No pills, no anything. I was talking about See, when people say like alternatives, they still mix in Western medication with that. I'm talking about
No.
fuck the pills, fuck all this other stuff that these doctors want to impose on you, and learn about the fruits, vegetables, and herbs that grow out in nature. And do exercises and breathing techniques and believe and foster that faith that there's nothing you cannot do in this world while you're alive, as long as you have faith and you're eating from the ground, because everything here is for that. I'm not medicinal, and I hate when I have to take a Tylenol 650 for either my arthritis in my hip or the menopause in my hip, whichever bitch that is. She can be painful, very painful sometimes, where it feels like I just got hit with the bat. But I'm not medicinal, and I try to not make my husband medicinal when he had ALS. And you said something that's very important. You don't know what you would do. And I think that is the most honest thing that we can tell anybody. Me speaking, I've studied this. I've talked about cancers, all types of cancers, the badass Buddha said. And then she said, I still couldn't tell you what I would do because I don't know. If that's not the most genuine thing you can hear, then I don't know what is. Because she's not going from one side to another because it has not happened to her.
Right.
And that is the whole premise of this show today, is that she has studied it and taught it, talked about it, researched it, and still wouldn't know what she would do if she ever got the C diagnosis. But then you have people in your life that, if you have been diagnosed and you're the one dealing with this shit and you're as confused as anybody, and then they've never had it done, they don't really know all the research that goes behind it, and they're trying to impose their beliefs onto you. That's where you got to draw the line. It doesn't matter who they are in your life, what type of blood type relation you have with them. You must say stop.
Yes.
Be blunt. Don't just get mad and walk away. You have to stand up for yourself.
That's correct.
Listen, I love you, but I don't want your opinion. This is solely my decision. If you cannot accept it, then please back off of me.
Yes.
Because you are going to enter the twilight zone of your life where you don't know which is the right decision, but you're going to trust and believe in yourself and God or whatever higher power you believe in, so that you're going to say, this will not be my story. Fuck this shit. And you're going to walk your path. And if you made a mistake, then it would be you to correct it, because as long as you are breathing, there are no mistakes. There's always things that can get repaired. You can go back and say, you know what? I tried this for the past 3-6 months. I wanted to try it. It's not working on my behalf. What else do you have to offer that I may choose from? Because you might not want everything they ask. But you're walking in there like the badass person that you were born to be. Chin up, shoulders back. Your walk in that doctor's office, he's gonna be like, oh shit, who's this? So when you sit down and says, tell me what is available for me, this is where I'm at, do whatever you got to do. And then when he speaks to you, he's going to speak to you confidently with the right selections that are available. You got to take your power back, even when you're living in your biggest fear. That's the best decision you can make, is when you are diagnosed with some type of disease. You take that breath. If you got to cry, scream into your pillow, walk away, drive away, do whatever you got to do. Let your power be there. And then when it's time, you get up, you put that bitch right back on, and you wear it like an armor, and you make the best decisions for your life, because only you can. And if you're that type of person that says, well, I don't know what to do, help me out, just so that you don't have any control over it, but so you can blame everybody else for your misfortune, then you know what? Stay over there in that corner, because I don't fuck with people like that. And you have to own your power. If you exhaust every options that you absolutely have, you can decide, am I going to keep the tatas? Am I going to send them bitches on their way, retire them? Am I going to get new ones? It is all your decision. Badass Buddha.
Milagro says, I made the decision not to take pain medication. It was difficult but possible when you have the motivation to continue living. When you are diagnosed with the C word, we know that there's a lot of, you're all over the place, right? And so you have to take that space for yourself. You have to give yourself space and grace. You have to take time by yourself and just sit with it. You can get pissed at it. You can scream at it. Get to a place where you can do that, punch something, get it out, get that anger through. Because all the emotions are going to get in the way of you grounding yourself and having clarity. When you go into that doctor's office, their goal is to treat you in the way that they feel is necessary. So they're going to only offer what they offer at that particular location. And a lot of people don't realize that every hospital, they have their go-tos. They have their radiation, they have their chemo, but then there's variations to radiation. There's variations to chemo. There's hormone therapy. There's so many other things that they can do. So that's why you sit and you calmly listen. Take notes. Bring a recorder if you have to.
Yep.
Don't make a decision. Don't get bullied by the doctor that, oh, though this is the best one for you. They're going to say that. It's almost like you have to look at it's like you're at a used car lot, or a car lot, and that they're selling their product. And then you go to another person and ask. Then you go to maybe an alternative person and ask and see what information comes in. But when you start researching this, you still have to be very grounded and say, what do I know I don't want? What do I know that I want? And start with that. Because once you start Googling things, you're going to go down a horrendous rabbit hole of stuff. And it's very overwhelming, not to mention all the people that are going to come at you and give you their opinions. But you have to at least have a base to start with. And I learned with my first husband having cancer, how sinister sometimes the medical doctors can be, because his particular type of cancer was very rare at the time, which now unfortunately is not so rare. But we lived in South Carolina. He had brain cancer, the worst of the brain cancers that you can have, very bad prognosis. Basically, he was told 3 to 6 months to live, which was true, but there was extenuating circumstances that added to it. But their treatment of modality was just radiate it, shrink it, take it out as much as they can, radiate it, and that's it. So I started doing some research as best I could, right? And then I found out that 4 hours away at Duke University in North Carolina, there was a whole section specifically on brain cancers and studies. And I called over there and I spoke to them and they said, yes, we could set you up with a consult. We drove all the way up there, met this really fabulous doctor who was in charge of the program. He was a New Yorker, looked like Jim Croce, had the white coat on, but it was open up. He had his jeans on. He was very relaxed, very cool guy. And he said that they're working on a very specific type of chemo that has never been used before. And they're seeing very positive results. And he said, but here's what you do is you would go to your local, get the radiation, do your course of radiation. And then when you're done with your radiation, then you would come once a week and do the chemo treatments. Fine. Sounded good. Went back to the other doctor. The radiation oncologist told him all about it, showed him the paperwork. You know what he said? You don't need that. He doesn't need that. We do research here at our hospital. I said, do you do research on brain cancers? Do you do research on glioblastoma specifically? Well, I mean, we do research. I said, in my head, and then when actually I said this to him, I'm like, why would you talk us out of doing that when you're still getting paid to do your radiation treatment? It's not like he's pulling you away from there, but just the fact that he was close to it, completely close to it. That was a real eye opener for me. And that was when I was 30 years old. That was 22 years ago that I got schooled that way. And that was a real honoring moment for me because I looked at that and said, you know what? You just listen to what they have to say, then you decide. And it doesn't matter what the hell they have to say because you still make that decision.
Absolutely.
for somebody, for this one guy to be so great about it and be so easygoing and say, go ahead, you finish your course, do this. And then this other guy to be just like, no, do it this way. Why would you be that way?
Because we let them, because people let them, because people don't stand up for themselves. Stand up for yourself. I don't care what you're going through. Milagros, thank you for sharing that, because you know what? That is always the best way. See, exhaust all of yours. See, and anyway, you can learn so much about yourself. What is your tolerance for pain? You know, we think, oh, we're afraid of pain, so we've made poor decisions. Now you ain't got nothing but pain. Figure it out how you can tolerate it. What is your level? Gauge it. Now, the badass Buddha said something earlier that I wanted to talk about, but then we got into the to talk about laughter. You know, 50% of any cure is your positive attitude. Read that anywhere. You could be dying, but if you have a positive attitude, 50% of your moments here on earth are going to be very nice. You're going to enjoy the people around you. You can learn how to become high tolerant of pain. I mean, you're going to absorb more of the love and attention you're giving because you're dying. I mean, so with that comes laughter. And laughter is my favorite song. I write about it in my book, on my blogs. I make little quotes. I say it all the time. Laughter is my favorite song. So if you enjoy laughter, if you have a friend whose laughter feels so contagious, record it. Record it and play that bitch on repeat.
That's actually a really good idea.
You know, because we need that. You know, instead of drinking, what are those disgusting drinks that people drink? The Monsters, the Red Bulls, you know, to pick you up. Have somebody's laughter pick you up. Watch a movie that you know you love and record your own laughter and remind yourself how fucking brilliant you are on those days that you feel like just hiding under the covers in the dark. You know, the best movie I've ever watched is Terms of Endearment. My favorite part, and I watched this when I was young, is it taught me how important it is to have an advocate in your life. So although myself and the badass Buddha never had a cancer diagnosis, we have been around people that matter to us that have had it. My granddaughter was 6 when she was diagnosed with the worst kind of leukemia. October 20, 2009, she was diagnosed. The next day she started chemo. Right before her 7th birthday in January 4th, they did a thing. Not one cell of leukemia was in her system. So they said they had to keep up the chemo. So my daughter and I spoke to them and we're like, you're not going to give her the full dose of chemo because there's no cancer cells in her system. Oh, but we got to make sure. Well, we got to make sure we are not overdosing her with chemo when there's no leukemia cells in her body. So they knew we were not the Puerto Rican mamas to mess with at our children's hospital in St. Pete. But you know what you do? You got to be an advocate. So Terms of Endearment, if you haven't watched it, you know what? It's an old movie, but it is phenomenal. Did you watch it, badass? When the mother, her daughter's dying of breast cancer.
Right. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I wouldn't recommend watching it if you actually have breast cancer.
Why? What's the truth about life, death? What is the
if you're not, and what I'm saying is, if you're not in a good state of mind, that's, you know, it's just because it's a sad movie. It's a beautiful movie, but it is sad.
It's beautiful. I find it beautiful. Every change brings sadness. Every death makes the people staying alive, you know, feel sad, feel bad, feel hurt, feel guilt because we wasted time believing we had more time. So when you think about that, think about, am I crying because I'm going to miss that person forever? Or is it because I cheated myself out of the time I should have shared with them? That's what, you know what? If you ever get cancer, make those signs. Speak about that. When my husband was dying, the first 6 months of his diagnosis, I couldn't get people out of my house. Then all of a sudden it was ghost town. And I had to wipe those tears because he was paralyzed because nobody came to visit him. Why? Because when you get diagnosed, they expect you to die immediately. But then you're like, fuck that. I ain't going nowhere. Deuces. Right? So it's all about coming into acceptance with what diagnosis you have, and then exhausting every option you have to turn that diagnosis around in your favor, because only you have the power to say, this is not going to be my story, this is not how I go down, and I am going to speak to this. I'm going to go to farms, I'm going to go to curanderas, go to everywhere you can possibly go, and discover who is this Margarita in this body, and what can I do to preserve it for as long as I possibly can. Maybe it's just your time, I don't know. Maybe it is just to awaken. See, people said we saved Anaya with all our prayers, and I said absolutely not. Anaya saved our souls because she made us bend our knees and reintroduce ourselves to God. There's always a flip side. See, God knew what he was doing with Anaya. Yeah, she was diagnosed. The poor thing had to do chemo for 7 months, lost all her hair. We are currently writing. It's only here, a book we started a couple years ago, and then she started developing and working and doing all this kind of stuff. And we talked the other day, and she already created the book cover. Because let me tell you, there's a story in everything we do. And Anaya I named her the warrior princess that stood with her through all her time in the hospital. And today she's brilliant. And she does a lot of, what is that? She donates a lot of her time to leukemia and cancer, bloodborne cancers in children, where she does face painting, where she donates artwork. She does a lot of that stuff because she never forget where she came from. But all of that takes your will and desire to live your life custom made your way, not the way people want you to do it. Who gives a shit? It's not your business who likes you, who agrees with you, who has planned out your life already. It's your life. Take that power back. Live it to the best of your abilities. Always carry kindness in your heart. Always be grateful towards everyone that crosses your path. And if you carry those two most powerful things, then you've set the intention to live your best life, which only you can do. We could talk till we're blue in the face. When you decide to live that type of life, you will see the abundance that God had created for you. You will walk the path that has been paved for you, but has been invisible because you have not decided to live the one life that you have. And remember, mi gente, they say life is short, but it is the longest journey you will travel. Travel it well.
Yes.
Okay, Buddha. Oh, Danny's on. Daniel.
Well, this was wonderful. What a powerful conversation, and a fabulous way to end our dedication for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So thank you all for being here today and listening, and share this with somebody that you know could deserves to hear this, and it doesn't have to be somebody that has breast cancer. It could be somebody that's just a woman that you just say, hey, listen, just, it's good to hear. And
or a woman who wants to make sure that they stay intact. Get your yearly checkups.
Yeah. And use and listen to the previous, episodes with our special guest, Karen Sammer, so you can hear it all. So thank you so much for being here today. We greatly appreciate it. And on Tuesday, we will start our dedication for the month of October to domestic violence awareness for the remainder of the month, and with our guest Lillian Maldonado. Please also make sure that when you get a moment to donate to Augusta Tu Corona, the gala. Again, if you cannot attend, you can still buy a ticket for somebody that is, that deserves it. Or you could just donate whatever amount that you can donate. You just click on givebutter.com /ATC 2022, and it'll give you the options of how you want to donate and spend the money. But it's a wonderful cause and a wonderful event. And if you can make it, great. And if you cannot, still consider donating. So thanks everyone for being here today. And everyone have just enjoyed. Take the time to get out and live your life this weekend. Do something crazy, something different, something beautiful, something lovely.
Yes, put a flower in your hair and go rumba. Rumba, rumba, rumba. Dance to the beat of your own motherfucking drum, but dance.
Absolutely.
Okay, mi gente.
Wonderful. All right. So everyone, thank you so much. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And as the Badass Buddha said, go out and breathe. Breathe life into your mind, body, and soul. And begin by breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.